Hello and welcome to another episode of Chew Your Food. So this episode will be a learning on the job interview. I had the chance to sit down with Aditi Hazra, an assistant professor of medicine at Harvard. She focused on cancer genomics. So I had a chance to learn about a different kind of breast cancer. We spoke about determinants of health and her path to get to where she is, her experience in that position. Lastly, we touch on what motivates her to continue her pursuit in medicine. All right, so welcome to Chew Your Food. I am sitting here with Aditi Hazra, an assistant professor of medicine specializing in cancer genomics.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here and excited to chat with you.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Let's start. What's your job like?
My job as an assistant professor in cancer biology and genomics is like solving a puzzle. The two things you need are education and experience. The education in STEM can come from biology classes, chemistry classes, math, computer science, and that can be sprinkled in high school or your college or summer courses. But those are some of the key courses that you'd want to have a foundation in pursuing a career in science. And then experience can be in a lab, in a university, or in the pharmaceutical industry, other nonprofits that are thinking about science and access to science and health for people. So what I do is look at the evidence and try to solve a puzzle. It's like having the Rosetta Stone in a way where you have the Greek code and you're using that to solve the hieroglyphics. So you have a piece of the puzzle, but you're using that knowledge to answer the missing link.
Gotcha. And so for the requirements, what was your path to this position now? What were you doing over in grad school and undergrad?
My path, before I got to college, I had gone to 14 different schools.
Oh, wow.
We lived all over the country, and I observed social determinants of health. Even before I knew what that term was, I observed disparities. And so I knew that I wanted to have a role in helping people, in alleviating suffering. I was an EMT after college. I had become interested in health and science when I was in high school. I pursued my undergraduate studies in biology and psychology. Then I did a PhD in cancer biology from the University of Texas, MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, and that solidified my interest in cancer and genetics as a tool, as an early warning signal that something could be wrong. And we use that to do more tests, to understand and diagnose, and then maybe even develop treatments around the genes that gave us the signal.
Gotcha. So these signals, is there an example of one?
Yeah, so let's first think of an analogy like our car. The little early warning light comes on. We know we have to take it in for some repairs.
Yep.
If we don't take it in, it's just going to get worse, right? And so a signal could be a blood test where a marker is too high or too low.
Okay.
Our blood counts are off. That tells us we need more tests. Another signal for breast cancer could be a woman doing a self-exam in the shower and noticing a lump.
Okay, so these signals can be as simple as finding a lump somewhere and then being like, okay, this is alerting. So it doesn't have to be like a blood test.
Right.
So it has to be, it's just any kind of abnormality that you notice.
So I think that's the key word. We want to know what is normal for me. One size doesn't fit all. So when something feels abnormal, we're paying attention to it.
Okay.
And that paying attention to it is so important because we know our bodies and we want to go to our doctor, our nurse, and say, this is what we're observing.
Right.
It doesn't feel right. And then they can help decide what is the right test. So many times I hear these stories of patients that found a rash or a redness on their breast and went in and they told the doctor, and the doctor said, oh, you're young, it's nothing. And so they waited months and the rash didn't go away, or they got a lotion or a cream for it, it didn't go away. And it turned out to be months later diagnosed as a very aggressive and rare type of breast cancer called inflammatory breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
It affects 2% of the population in the US, but 10% of the deaths are from this rare type.
Okay, so it can be as small as like a little rash.
This type of breast cancer, called inflammatory breast cancer, doesn't have a lump. It can start with redness, swelling, or a rash.
Okay.
And if you see those symptoms together, redness, swelling, or a rash, then you should talk to your nurse or doctor.
Okay. So even if I find, or anybody finds a simple rash, it could be as bad as, this might be a signal that your body's telling you something's not right. And you might think it's like topical. So that's why some people get like
and hopefully
ointment.
most of the time it is topical. But it's worth asking your doctor and saying, okay, is this topical? If it doesn't go away, following up and saying, it's still here. I think I need another test.
And what would you think about that time frame? If somebody finds that rash or redness or feels some kind of abnormality, as we keep saying, if you find that within like a week or two, and then it still hasn't gone away, is there like a time frame that we should be like thinking about?
A week. Let's be on it. It's
Yeah.
our health.
Hey, ASAP. I appreciate that. So I wanted to also hear, because there's a lot to unpack. You said something about the social determinants of health. I remember we did chat about that. Can we just let the listeners know?
The social determinants of health are about where we live and the housing, the financial stability, the food security, these factors that determine our wellness and our well-being and how it can impact health. So if we don't have financial security, we might not have insurance coverage and be able to afford health care and delay going in. So we find an abnormality. Do I put food on the table or do I go in for a doctor's appointment? And we don't want to have people make that difficult decision. We want to improve access to health care.
Gotcha.
And we want to improve access to getting these early tests and early signals followed up on so that people have better outcomes. So that the social determinants of health are the factors where we live, where we work, where we play that influence our health outcomes. If we don't have clean water, how can we have proper health?
Yeah, how can you have clean food?
Exactly.
Right? So that's really great to hear that, because I can also think about it through a BCBA lens, in that ABC, that antecedent portion of like your environment, everything you have access to.
Yes.
Like these are what limit or provide you with the opportunities. All right, can I hear more about, you said you could start the path even in high school or earlier. What would you say to some teens out there or high school students that are looking to get into STEM and would love a chance to do something, but they just don't know where to start?
Sure. I would say you can volunteer in hospitals, you can volunteer in a lab for a summer, for a winter break, and that's a great way to get some experience. Take a biology class, a chemistry class, a math class. There's math and physics involved in science and healthcare delivery. I volunteered in hospital. Radiology was my first volunteer job. I volunteered in doctor's offices. After college, I trained as an EMT, so I rode with the ambulances.
Okay.
And then I got a job as a nursing assistant in the NICU. I also served as the student director of a healthcare for the homeless clinic. So those are great ways to get experience. You can maximize what you're doing in the summers, your vacation time off to learn. Also during the semester, if you can balance your schoolwork. I know that there's a lot of demand, so sometimes the summer or the winter break is a little easier.
Yeah, I'm hearing that now. Actually, some of my science friends are looking for interns already for the summertime.
Exactly.
Because Boston gets empty. A lot of students go back home, and it's like a lot less people here to work with. So they're looking for interns, and they're starting their search really, really early. It's great to see. And so is there any place that you would suggest a student in Boston go to try out volunteering opportunities?
In Boston, the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute participates in the CURE program, C-U-R-E, and that is a summer program for high school students and undergrads that provides a wonderful structure. They come to meetings to learn about science, how to do research. They're paired with a lab and a specific mentor who designs a small project for them. And I've been a CURE mentor. I think it's a great opportunity for students to be introduced into science, but they also meet other students like them who are interested. And it focuses on students from underserved backgrounds. So it's a great opportunity. Apply early, look at the deadlines, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity and program for students to look for. If you're not in Boston, there could be other universities near you that offer similar programs.
Okay. And then, so after doing that coursework or extracurricular activities outside of school and trying to get some face time in the lab, some experience, like knowing what the tools are or the methods you use in the research, what would you say to people who are in grad school or college now and are trying to become an assistant professor like yourself?
In addition to the coursework, the mindset is one of a curious person. You look at the world and you say, why not?
Yes.
And creativity. Also some crazy perseverance.
Yeah? Why do you say it has to be crazy?
Because it's not like the TV show where you have an idea and the discovery is in that same 30-minute episode.
Okay.
You have an idea, you apply for a grant, you might get that notification 10 months to a year later. If you got the grant or didn't get the grant.
Oh, wow.
If you didn't get it, you have to revise, resubmit. So that takes perseverance to say, what went wrong? What can I do better?
Gotcha.
What can I learn from the critique and do better? And then if you are fortunate to get the grant, the research itself could take several years. It's a very long timeline that you have to stay focused and have perseverance on your ideas and work with a team to troubleshoot.
Gotcha.
Science is a team sport. We're not doing this alone. So imagine a quarterback without his receiver. We need our team. And we need our coaches. Those are our mentors. And we can all learn from each other. So it's a collaborative, creative process.
If I wanted to become an assistant professor, what would I graduate with first off?
So that's the cool part. I think there's more openness to the degree that you graduate with, as long as you complete some of the basic STEM requirements in biology, chemistry. You can have a degree in computer science. You can have a degree in theater.
Oh, wow.
And bring that creativity to your graduate programs. You have to take a graduate entrance exam. That could be the GRE for graduate school. It could be the MCAT for medical school. And that, along with your grades, your experience, your letters of recommendation, and your essay on why you want to go into graduate school, form your application package so that you apply to PhD programs, master's programs. So that's usually the next step.
And when you were going into a PhD program, what did you focus on? What was your thesis?
I became interested, so I was working in the NICU, I became interested in the genetics of birth defects.
Okay.
And as I started studying genetics, one gene associated with one birth defect, I was in Houston, which is home to MD Anderson Cancer Center, one of the world's top cancer centers. And my professor said, study complex genetics. So I took a class on cancer genetics and became fascinated by how the alterations aggregate to cause this champion of renegade cells, the cancer cell.
Okay.
And so I pursued cancer biology as my PhD, and I have been studying cancer ever since. The good news is that once you really understand the molecular biology, the genetics, you're not only understanding cancer, but you understand many other complex diseases that are associated with both genes, our lifestyle, and our environment.
What is it like to be an assistant professor looking for funding and doing the different aspects of the day? Like, what is one of the days like last week?
Yeah, I would say that I wear many shoes in one day. There's the lab shoes that are closed-toed and safe.
Mm-hmm.
There's the dress pumps that I might wear to give a presentation.
Gotcha.
And there might be the workout shoes that I wear to run between meetings. So a typical day could include collecting data from patients.
Okay.
That could be a survey. That could be their physical tumor sample that I'll then use for genomic assays. Interfacing with patient data is a part of my day. Recording data, analyzing data is definitely a key part of my day.
Gotcha.
Then teaching and presentations and quiet time to write grants is a part of my day.
Okay.
So always thinking about what's the new idea, what's the next idea that I might write a grant on.
Right.
And then there's time to meet with patients, to meet with the community, to engage them, empower them with the knowledge about health.
Gotcha. And something I was actually hearing about before was when some people are, I'm not sure, do you have any experience with like clinical trials? Are these like clinical trials that you're talking about?
So absolutely, I have some experience and interest in clinical trials.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see clinical trials include more diverse patient populations. Many of the clinical trials in the U.S. have focused on white individuals
Mm-hmm.
or healthy individuals,
Right.
higher socioeconomic status that have access to the hospitals that are running the trials.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, how can we make them more patient-centric?
Okay.
How can we reduce the barriers of being involved? Do we have to go into that hospital to fill out the consent form? Can we do it electronically? Can we reduce some of the barriers?
I hear you. So the people that you will have in the data already are people that have certain determinants of health that we are aware of.
Yes.
What would you suggest to those other people who are not able to get into the clinical trials? Is that something that the patient should be doing, or is that something about?
I think every patient and every caregiver needs to be an advocate for their self, especially with a disease like cancer where there is cutting-edge clinical trials happening.
Mm-hmm.
If you are diagnosed with cancer, it is a great question to ask your doctor, is there a clinical trial that I might be eligible for?
What are the requirements that tell somebody if they're eligible or not?
So one size doesn't fit all, and it could be that what stage a person was diagnosed, what tumor site it is, what genetic alteration they have, if we're testing a specific trial that targets a specific gene or a specific genomic pathway. So they would have to have access to that test first. And it could be what else they have been treated with. It could also be some trials say you can't have other illnesses. And so we're trying to push back on that and say, in real life, people have hypertension and cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be able to test the treatments in the real world population.
So looking more for like case studies rather than the ideal candidate for this certain trial.
I mean, certainly there are requirements. Typically a trial will be adults and above for adult cancers. Pediatric cancers would be separate.
Okay.
Right? So 18 and above.
Mm-hmm.
If it's breast cancer or ovarian cancer, it may focus on women.
Okay.
If it's lung cancer, it may focus on men and women.
Mm-hmm.
We want to certainly have non-binary individuals allowed and encouraged to enroll.
Yeah.
And there's a website, clinicaltrials.gov, where we can just type in breast cancer
Oh.
and see what are the active trials,
So, okay.
what are the recruiting trials. We can limit it to United States, we can limit it to our state,
Wow.
and we can get a list. Anybody can access that.
Okay.
And then you can print it out, bring it to your doctor and say, here's what I'd like to know about if I'm eligible for any of these trials.
Gosh, so you can actually look these up. What is the website again?
Clinicaltrials.gov.
Okay, clinicaltrials.gov, and that gives you a list of ongoing and recruiting trials. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah. We type in our search terms,
Mm-hmm.
and
Quick one too. This is as simple as looking up your filters.
Yep.
Okay, I did not realize. And I remember we were also talking about one of the programs that you had before called STARS. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
During the pandemic, I was not going to the gym.
As were many people.
I thought about the cancer patients who are immunocompromised, who are also not likely to be able to go to the gym. We know that physical activity reduces your risk for getting cancer. We know that physical activity improves survivorship. So not having that opportunity is harmful to their health.
Yeah.
We can all get up and go for a walk, but we live in Boston. What about those super cold days?
Yeah.
What can we do in our home with our own body weight? I'm Pilates trained, and I applied for a grant through the Athleta Power of She Fund.
Oh, nice.
And they funded people that were focusing on Black and brown people, opportunities for exercise, wellness. It was a great program that I worked with Chioma Tomlinson to create a strength training class that we could do in our home. We did an hour-long class, a 55-minute class, and a 30-minute class, and just with our body weight. And if you do enough squats and lunges, we all felt the burn.
Yes.
And we had high energy music. We added some topics that we discussed, like lymphedema prevention. We talked about bone density and bone health. We talked about heart health. Everything that, so the exercise isn't just beneficial for cancer survivorship, but overall survivorship.
Gotcha. And so when you started the STARS program, I know that's the acronym. What does the STARS stand for?
Strength Training and Research for Survivorship.
Okay. And so that's not only focusing on cancer, but it's focusing on anybody that is looking for exercise or just for the benefits of exercise?
I piloted it with cancer survivors, and that's I did some additional coursework on cancer exercise training.
Okay.
So if you have cancer surgery, in a certain area, what are the exercises you should avoid? If a woman has breast cancer, she has a lymph node removed from her arm, we would not do push-ups.
Okay.
But we would work on range of motion with her arm.
Gotcha.
If someone has surgery in the stomach area, we would work in a way to not do crunches, but do something else. So I tried to make the class tailored for cancer survivors after their active treatment, knowing that some of these women may not have been moving their arms, but needed to work on their range of motion, so how to build up that strength. So you can't do a push-up on your hands, but what about on your elbows? Or we just start with a squat against a wall, then work our way up to a full squat standing.
So like that assisted squat to start first, and then we work our way to a freestanding squat.
Yes.
Okay. And where would people look to find information on the STARS program?
So we do have a website, starsexercise.com, and we do have an Instagram page where I had posted some little exercise snacks, little 2-minute, 5-minute workouts you can do. Everybody has time to do a squat while they're brushing their teeth.
Right.
And there's short little programs that you can, bird dog as a move, squats, lunges, those are all small things that we can incorporate into our day.
Is a bird dog a Pilates move or something?
Yes.
Okay, I was like, what's a bird dog? I should know this. So that's really good. So I'm hearing this again with even while you're brushing teeth, you can do some squats. Like the little things add up.
Yes.
Little things add up. So even starting to do clinical volunteering in a lab or in a hospital, little things like that can add up to help you get to a certain place that you're aiming for.
Exactly.
All right. I thank you so much. I didn't realize there's so many benefits from just working out.
And I think even when you're going for walks, you can stop and do a squat. You can do a stretch to stretch your muscles before your walk or jog or run. So we can incorporate it in many ways. You can take the stairs. You can get off one subway stop early to walk
Just
that
to
extra distance.
There you go. So anywhere you can sneak in some movement.
Sneak it in.
Yeah,
Just a
there you
little
go.
snack. Sneak it in.
Sneak in a snack. And then, so I remember, our third part, what is it about this position, the assistant professor position, that you like, that keeps you interested, that keeps you going every day, keeps you motivated?
Patients. The patient stories. Listening to patients. leading with the patient's problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this woman that I mentioned, this young woman who observed a redness and kept getting turned away. And one of my passion projects has been trying to identify a biomarker, a gene, or an alteration that helps us more clearly diagnose and detect inflammatory breast cancer.
So when you say a biomarker, are you talking about like a pattern in the bases, in the DNA bases, or what is a biomarker?
A gene alteration, a variation in the bases of a gene.
Okay.
And so we would find that from the biopsy or the blood sample. And I just submitted a paper that I've been working on for years on a potential finding. So stay tuned.
Oh, okay. What is the?
Stay tuned.
Right,
Next
stay
time
tuned.
you'll have to invite me back.
Okay.
Another patient who's on my mind is a new mother whose lactation consultant noticed a lump. She delayed going in because she's a new mother. She's busy. She's focusing on her baby.
Right.
And delayed her diagnosis of early stage cancer. And then at every stage, what is the right treatment? You know, these are the questions that I think about. There was this amazing study. The acronym is Baby TAM. So there's
Baby DAM or Baby TAM?
TAM for tamoxifen.
Oh, okay, Baby TAM.
And so there's lower doses of medication that we are learning that works for people.
Mm-hmm.
We're also learning that someone can stop a medication for 2 years if they're focusing on their fertility or having a child.
Gotcha.
Or so there's a lot more awareness about family planning, fertility, and these are resources that a newly diagnosed person could ask their doctor about. Are there support groups? Are there fertility specialists that they can also talk to during their cancer treatment?
Gotcha. Okay. So if the cancer treatment starts while they have a baby, is that, well, depending on the stage of cancer, depending on a lot of different factors, that pretty much point you to a certain treatment, right?
To tailor the treatment. So one size doesn't fit all. So we'll take all of this information to create the right treatment plan for each person.
Gotcha. And so what is it that you hope for in the world of cancer research? What do you hope for the future?
You know, we're putting these pieces of the puzzle together. And I know that 40% of cancer could be prevented with lifestyle, with the social determinants of health being improved, having better access to care. So one of my hopes is to see the cancer moonshot goals come to fruition, where we want to improve access. We want to detect earlier. So there's it's called MCED. It stands for MCED, Multi-Cancer Early Detection Test. And so it could be a blood test that could detect alterations for lung cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer. That's the future.
So that's the moonshot? That's a project that's being worked on?
One of the goals of the moonshot, to see this MCED test.
Okay.
And that could be a game changer. I want to see more creative collaboration. I've been fortunate to have collaborators and mentors at Washington University in St. Louis contribute to my projects, and I'm grateful for that mentorship. I'm grateful for access to their tissue samples. I would not have been able to do the research without them. I'm grateful to the inflammatory breast cancer program at Dana-Farber for their collaboration. So team science, we need to row together towards the shared vision.
Thank you so much for listening to my interview with Assistant Professor of Harvard, Aditi Hazra. To check out the definition of social determinants of health, an article about inflammatory breast cancer, STAR's exercise website, check out our Facebook page, Chew Your Food, for all our story links. Don't forget to leave a message or write to us about the show. Leaving feedback is the best way to help me make this podcast better, aside from hopping on onto a learning on the job interview. Reach out and let us know through Facebook or Instagram. So it's Mr. MISTER_L92. Sponsored by Mr. L's Tutoring and Enrichment. Education beyond the classroom. Offering private and group tutoring in Boston, as well as volleyball and tennis clinics for both kids and adults. Check out our website at tutorwithmrl.com and reach out. And always remember to chew your food.